Okay, I want to interrupt my other stories with some Navy stories, just to break the ice and get a little difference. Okay. Um, First of all, let me just tell you how I got started in Navy. Okay. I graduated college, and Vietnam War was going on, and the first day of grad school, September 1st, I come back, I get a notice. I'm going to be drafted. I have to go down and draft for it. So I said, okay, I'll go. I didn't have a problem with the draft. I didn't have a problem at all. So I go down and I tell him, I said, look, I'm willing to go. I'm willing to raise my hand right now, but I want a start date a year from now. That's all. That's all I was asking for. Guy says, we can't do it. He says, the most we can give you is 4 months. That's it. I said, well, 4 months is going to get me through this semester, but that's it. He said, well, that's all we can do. So I'm standing there like, geez, maybe I just sign the damn thing and get it over with, go into service now. And then the guy says, well, look, hey, there's no rush, right? He says, you got 4 months. If we took you right now, and we signed it right now. But he says, you got 30 days right now. You got 30 days before you have to sign anything. So he said, look around, talk to some reserve units. Maybe you find a reserve unit that's got a deal, you could stay for the year. So I said, oh, okay, thanks a lot, pal, I go out, and I did. I started looking at Army Reserve. And basically, the Army Reserve was the one I knew they had reserves. So I looked at a couple of Army Reserve, talked to the people there, and they couldn't do much for me. They'd give me a couple of months, but that was it. So then somebody mentioned, hey, there's a Navy Reserve unit down in Clifton. So I said, I'll go take a look at the Navy Reserve unit. I go down there, and the guy says, yeah, he says, we really don't give you necessarily a year. He says, what happens is we have two programs here. We have a Naval Intelligence Program, okay, Naval Security Group Program, and we have CBs. CBs are the guys who drive the tractors and build the airfields, et cetera, and get shot at in the process. Okay, but anyway, he said that's the two options we have, and so I said, so I have to pick the intelligence. He said, well, you just can't pick the intelligence section. He says you have to take a test. If you qualify for it, then the next step is then you have to apply for a clearance, top secret clearance, and if you don't pass the test, you're in the CBs, and you're going to be out of here in a month, 2 months at the latest. You're going to be going. So he says, now, if you pass the test, okay, but then you can't get past the security piece, you're going to go in 2 months, and you're going to go as a CB. So I'm sitting there saying, what the heck, CB, what the hell, I don't know the difference, So I mean, I knew what a CB was. I wasn't crazy about it, but it was another job, So I said, okay, I'll take the test. So I took the test, the first test. It's like an IQ test. And turns out I got a pretty high mark on it. You had to get 120. You had to get 120 or you couldn't. If you get over 120, you had the option of going CB or Intel. But if you didn't get over 120, you were in the CBs. So I got, believe it or not, I got 148 on an IQ test, pretty high. So I'm eligible for the Intel program, right? So I figure, hey, I'm okay. I sign up, and but now they start the process, right? Well, it didn't take very long for me to realize, because they started asking questions and stuff, that on my mother's side of the family was from Russia. Well, not. They're from the Ukraine, part of Russia. They're all over the place, okay? But they had relatives still behind the Iron Curtain, in the Ukraine, in Russia, etc. So that was going to make it pretty difficult because the more you knew about them, the more you could be coerced, okay? When fortunately, I didn't know much about them at all, And I could relate a couple of stories of sending packages after the war over there to Hungary and places like that, because I remember asking my mother, I said, you're sending this package to Hungary? I thought our relatives lived in Russia. She said, no, the border is over there. They didn't move. The borders keep moving. and wherever they were, it's now part of Hungary. I said, okay. But anyway, so they started the process, and lo and behold, I got through the first couple of months. After the first couple of months, you pretty much knew, that you had a pretty good shot at it. And so I'm in school still, And then by the time first semester's over, I'm pretty sure I'm going to stay for the whole thing, And I didn't get my clearance until about October of the next year. It takes about a year to get your clearance. Maybe a little less, if you got a lily white record, nothing confusing, one job in your whole life, you went to school, high school, bang, bang, very straightforward life. But if you had anything else, it gets complicated. You had jobs, et cetera. They check everything. Because I'd get people calling me saying, hey, Duff, are you okay? Everything okay? What do you mean? Well, I had these guys from the Navy down here, the Naval Intelligence Program, asking about you, I didn't tell them anything. So I said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's all okay, I'm not in trouble. Not yet, anyway. Anyway, so I get in the Navy, and that's how I got in the Naval Intelligence Program. So I waited a year, and then I was able to finish school and go on active duty. So I'll tell you a little bit about the process of going through. During the year, you had to do two things, okay? Besides drilling once a week, okay? At that time, they didn't drill on a weekend. You drill once a week, one night a week. So besides drilling one night a week, you had to go to two deals. You had to go to boot camp, okay? And boot camp they had this thing set up. The program was really geared towards college graduates. So it was, this is the Intel program, not only the Intel program, but the boot camp program. So they didn't want to send college graduates through with the regular 18-year-olds because the college guys would say, hey, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. They can't do this to you. They can't do that to you, et cetera. So they had a separate category. And when we went, it were almost all college graduates, the group that I was in. And but it was only 2 weeks at the Great Lakes for a regular kind of boot camp, right? Now that's a couple of stories. That's not one story. That's a couple of stories. But the other part of it was you went to sea for 2 weeks. Oh, that's another. There's a couple of really good stories there too. Unfortunately for me, there are good stories. But anyway, I'll come back and I'll finish those stories later. But that's how I got into the Navy, and that's how I got into the Naval Intelligence Program. So, all right, more to come. Take care. Bye.